Hello, YouTube. It's 10:43 p.m. Still Sunday, July 9th, 2023. Watching the cats on the fence. They're entertaining. Oh, man. It's been kind of a trying day since the end of my last video. Gosh, what can I talk about? I can talk about the fact that I haven't made it to the bar to pick up my suitcase. I don't see it being a problem. Although I'm going to be kind of bummed if I completely missed the DJ. I was hoping to catch some of his set. I do remember I went there last week, and I think I left around 9. Memory serves. And the funny thing is, like, I'm exactly a week behind at uploading my vlogs right now. So I'm actually at the point where I'm like previewing the videos from exactly what I was doing a week ago and trying to figure out how to put them together and upload them. So it's kind of fresh in my mind. But yeah, I went there last week and left around 9 o'clock and decided to go over to the Hideaway for karaoke because I really wanted to sing. I went there expecting I was going to get to sing, and consequently passed up on my usual Sunday afternoon thing of heading over to Oz Bar. And yeah, I was jonesing the sings. I was disappointed when I got there on Sunday to find out, he doesn't really do karaoke on Sunday, he just DJs. And I was told at one point, it might happen, later at like, I forget what time I got there, but I think he said, oh yeah, I probably won't start doing karaoke till after 8. And I stuck around till after 9. And I didn't want to bug the guy about it. So it was pretty clear there was nobody else there was interested in singing. And that's when I met the woman named Connie, who is like his sister-in-law or former sister-in-law. I don't know. She's got some kind of connection to the DJ. But I know I've met her before. Like, I vaguely remember her from when I worked over at Horse and Hound. Her and I were really clicking, so I pretty much stayed there, hung out with her. But yeah, about the time she said she was getting ready to bounce, and I wasn't really talking to anybody else there. And I wasn't singing, so about the time she was getting ready to bounce, it seemed like it was a good time for me to bounce as well. And so consequently, I don't know how late he stays there. Although I was told he's supposed to start at 3. And both bartenders who said that, kind of said it and rolled their eyes, kind of like, yeah, he's never here at 3. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but it's going to be almost 11 by the time I show up. So I'll be highly surprised if he's still going, especially if you're supposed to start at 3. That's an insanely long time to keep DJing. Which is fine. I don't see me having any problem getting my suitcase. So I've been mostly, granted a little bit of time was spent just kind of relaxing in my room, mostly trying to mentally decompress from all that happened earlier, but also working on trying to, the dream is to get less than a week behind on uploading this vlog, but I know how much I've been oversharing in the past week, so God knows, I'll probably be more than a week behind by the time this posts, especially considering that I got a couple 12-hour HelloFresh shifts coming up through Wonolo. Speaking of Wonolo, and I'm a little frustrated with my daughter about this, not that it's her fault, but dealing with her, if I wasn't dealing with her drama, and I mean, I'm her dad, obviously that should be job one, I should be trying to take care of her, but she's 21. She should maybe be doing better at taking care of herself. Just saying. Trying to look back to when I was her age. I had a bit of a disaster when I was her age because I got fired and I was living in, thinking of like where I was at my 21st birthday, and I was in a really great place in life, but it wasn't that long after my 21st birthday. I think a little farther along than Allison is after her 21st birthday, where I was fucking up in life pretty bad myself and ended up losing what in theory should have been an absolute perfect dream job that came with a really awesome condominium, which of course resulted in me being not only unemployed but homeless. That's the downside of employee housing. You lose your job, you lose your home. and I had no fallback position whatsoever. And I ended up hooking up with a couple of friends guys that I thought were my good friends that ended up, so I guess come to think of it, I was very much the same situation as Allison, hooking up with friends that I think are, people that I think are my friends that ended up completely fucking me over. And, they left me, like, basically everything that I own got put into their van. We're all coming to Phoenix together, and there was this whole great game plan. My mother had this extra house, and we were all going to live with it, and they were going to be roommates with me. And we forged a new life for ourselves in Phoenix, in a house, and get jobs, and pay rent on rooms, and it'd be a great situation. And they, I went the wrong damn direction. I was going to go north on the 51, do the Thomas, and double back to the bar. And I was all talking and spaced that out. Whoops. Can't believe I just did that. So, weren't as good of friends as I thought they were. They basically ditched me. And to be fair, I kind of lost them. So maybe it was a situation where they straight up just couldn't find me and didn't know what else to do. And we're just like, well, we don't have a chance in hell of finding him. He's lost in San Diego. Fuck damn, we're leaving. But I mean, regardless, they left. And they left with everything I owned in their van. Like, I had literally nothing left but the clothes on my back and the few random possessions and forms of identification that were in my pocket. Other than that, I lost everything, including a cat. I had a cat named Tigger. And of course, the lesson learned there. And did I learn it there? Oh no, I kept fucking up on that front for many years. But definitely the lesson learned that I should have learned in other mistakes at even younger ages is you can't fully trust people who say they're your friends until they've really proven that they are your friends. And I've got friends that I know I can fully trust. And I've even got some friends that aren't even that close of friends that I know I can fully trust. That's why I went and visited Chris in the hospital. Chris and I are particularly close, but I do know he's a good person that I can trust. So he, sorry, I lost my train of thought trying to think of what direction I'm going to go to get back to the bar. May as well just go down McDowell. Oak isn't as useful of a thoroughfare in this part of town as it is over by where I live. So yeah, I did completely fuck up my life. Although to be fair, I wasn't doing any drugs. And I wasn't having any health issues. Now, how many of Allison's health issues are a result of her doing drugs? I don't know. I'm not qualified to assess that. But I can't help but think that it's a pretty significant contributing factor. And she's like, well, you should have some empathy. You should have some empathy. I really don't have a lot of empathy to people whose problems are caused by doing drugs. I'm trying to understand. But don't do that, it's bad for you has been pretty much all I've needed to keep me away from that kind of crap. You know, I lived with a guy who was a very close friend of mine who was a heroin junkie, and I didn't like being around him when he was doing it. Like, if he was doing it, I was out of there. And I couldn't understand that, but what I did understand is that it was a friend of mine that when he wasn't doing that shit, was one of the coolest people I'd ever met. And then when he was doing that shit, it made him something that I just thought was creepy as fuck and didn't want to be around. And by being around him and living with him, and this is when I was 29 years old, so 1999, shortly after I got out of prison, just as a consequence of being around him. So when you're around people that do bad shit and bad shit happens to you. That's how that works. I had somebody come in at gunpoint and stole my CD collection. Fortunately, I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that. Or was I? So much has happened since then, and I'm a little unclear on it. I think I was there, because the person who did it was somebody that I'd known for a long time, and couldn't believe that he would do that to me, especially since whatever his deal was with having a moment where I'm not entirely sure where I am because it's dark. Okay, this is Oak right here. And yeah, I couldn't believe he'd do that. And obviously he was, basically running collections for somebody who sold heroin and didn't really have, he had to come back with something. And the most obvious thing of value was my CDs. And so yeah, another person who, I really thought was a friend, but, once drugs get involved, things become problematic. And so even though I wasn't doing any drugs, just the fact that I was hanging out with people that were involved in drugs cost me my CD collection, which was pretty substantial and meant a lot to me. I'm going to continue with the story and give a little more insight as to what's going on with my daughter when I get back. And also what happened with Wonolo. They're kind of intertwined. Yeah, another frustrating Wonolo experience. Could have been a job. I'm not blaming it on Allison, but I do think if I wasn't dealing with Allison, I would have been working tonight. Trying to remember that being a dad is supposed to be job one, and it's a lifetime commitment. It doesn't end when your children turn 18. But on the same token, I'm not happy with the situation, and my situation is pretty dire as far as, the amount of bills that I need to pay before the end of this month. We're an hour away from it being the 10th and the month being a third over, and I haven't even paid all the bills from the end of last month. I got basically 20 days to come up with $1,000 for rent. So it's not a time that I need to be losing potential work over somebody that values dope more than her own life. And I'm back. I hung out in there a lot longer than I intended to. There was good company there for a while, and then I don't know. I was kind of sitting by myself, dinking around on my cell phones and having another drink, and didn't feel like leaving. I swore I wasn't going to spend anything on drinks there, and I did. But oh well, c'est la vie, right? I did. Still working on editing and posting vlogs from like exactly a week ago, which is really weird. It's not very often that I'm sitting and reviewing what I was doing exactly a week ago. But yeah, that's what I was doing once all the conversations ended and I found myself alone with my drink and one of my smartphones. Actually, I was using Obamaphone 3 for operating the TouchTunes app and putting songs on the jukebox, which is fine. I didn't spend any money on that. I've got a bunch of credits sitting on my TouchTunes, although I've used quite a few of them in the last few days. I don't have the balance that I had at the beginning of the week, that's for certain. But I finally got to look at the first video footage that I shot with Obamaphone 5 and view it on my iPhone so I could see what it looks like on something that's got a decent quality screen. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised that its default resolution is 1080p, and I'm actually at least trying to. It's still exporting from iMovie, and I might give up. It might create a space issue where I'm like, fuck it, not worth it, and just export it 720p. But I'm trying to export it at 1080p, even though the second half of the video, which was shot on Obamaphone 3, actually no, I take that back. The second half of the video was shot. Hang on, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure if the second half was shot with Obamaphone 3 or if the second half was shot with my iPhone. At any rate, the second half was shot. Oh, I just got the unable to export error. God damn it. It was exporting at a pretty good rate of speed too. I was feeling pretty positive about that, but no, I just looked down and there's the unable to export error. So that's the kiss of death on iMovie, because what it ends up doing is sucking up all the cache with that, and then it thinks it needs all the space it needs for export, but it doesn't realize it has a cache, and it'll use that cache. I mean, I can tell by how quickly it exports when I free up enough space, but it needs to see like way more space than what it needs before it'll actually finish exporting and then use the space that it's already sucked up. It blows my mind how a piece of Apple software can be so bad in memory management. But yeah, iMovie, the older version of iMovie I'm running on my iPhone is just unbelievably bad. And I should take the time to try to find a better video editor, but I don't know. I don't like hunting. I don't like hunting for software. I figure out how to use something, and even when I know it's flawed, I tend to kind of just stick with it and deal with the flaws. Which is kind of how I am with everything, to be honest. I mean, from this car to Priscilla. Speaking of Priscilla and her flaws, I messaged her at the bar to see if she was down for a little, nighttime adult fun, and I didn't even get a no. I mean, I did get, she did ask, when my court date is. Just want to make sure I don't forget it, and I appreciate the reminder, but I'm gonna need a little adult playtime. And the real kicker is, since I'm exactly a week behind on my vlog, this is exactly what the fuck happened last week. Like, seriously, last Saturday night, I went to her place, and then she fell asleep. I went to the bed, got naked, was waiting for her, led me on all night long. We were all, like, kind of flirting and stuff in the bar, and there was, some suggestive, a little bit of touchy-feely going on in the bar. I'm expecting that something's going to happen when I get back to her place. She asked me to come home with her. I come home with her. I get undressed. I go into her bed. And then I wake up a few hours later, alone, go out to the living room, and there she is on the couch in pajamas, which means she got undressed and then put other clothing on, because heaven forbid I come feel on her, right? I guess we don't have that kind of relationship anymore. So, fuck. Yeah. Nope. Same goddamn thing as what happened last night. About the only difference versus this week and versus last week is last week I woke up, I was alone, tired, I went back to crash in her bed. I woke up again, she is still crashed out on her couch, and I was just like, fuck this, I've got better things to do with my Sunday, and I left. Whereas today, it kind of went in a different order. Well, same thing, I woke up and I realized that's what had happened, and I was kind of frustrated, but again, I was tired and didn't feel like going to my place, and I was optimistic that maybe, just maybe, she would come in and there'd be a little morning adult play, because that happens on occasion. It's a really, really rare occasion. Really rare occasion, but I don't feel like it feels like it happened a couple of weeks ago ish. Once actually, the first Thursday night we got back together, that happened in the morning, and of course she was all touchy-feely, lovey-dovey, like, oh yeah, well, it's important that I get my man some breakfast and some sex, so I sent him off to a good day. Yeah, that was important for one day, and now it's just back to the bullshit fucking teasing. I don't know. I had a female friend that I chat with and was texting about, well, I was still over at her place, and she was, actually, I think it was after she already woke up. Like, she comes in and she's like, oh, well, yeah, I got plans to go to a baseball with a game with a friend. And I knew that those plans existed, but it was like, so you can wake up for that, but you can't wake up to join me in bed? All right, thanks for showing me what your priorities are. And I straight up told her that. And then I also told her that oh, I forget. I told her something else about just how that was, it's like, well, it's very, basically what her actions are telling me. And she's like, well, if that's how you see it, I'm like, that's how I see it. I mean, your actions are speaking louder than the words, and this is what your actions are saying. And if you're wanting to give a different message, then you need to do some different actions. Not happy with this. Straight up told her. Love the purple street light right there, by the way. There's just more and more purple street lights all over town. I'm just loving them. So anyway, she's like, oh yeah, well, I gotta go. And she tells me she's getting ready to go to the baseball game with her friend, which was a fucking straight up lie, because she went into the bathroom and proceeded to smoke cigarettes. Maybe she only smoked one. I don't know. But if she thinks I can't smell it from the bathroom, she's fucking wrong. The smell of cigarette smoke is abso-fucking-lutely disgusting to me. Straight up. I would rather rim a woman who bathes than kiss a woman who smokes. And on that note, Priscilla and I don't kiss much. And that's a big part of why. She smokes cigarettes, and that's fucking gross. So I'm sitting there, and it's like, she lied and said she was doing one thing, and then I can smell that she's doing something else. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you had a choice to spend 15 minutes sucking on me or sucking on a cigarette, and you chose to suck on a cigarette. At which point I started texting one of my female friends to see what she was up to and telling her about what's going on. And yeah, it's like that. She's just torturing you because you won't give her a ring. I'm like, I won't give her a ring because she fucking smokes. So there's plenty of other things I'm not cool with, but I mean, that alone is a deal breaker for me. Anyway, we're sitting there texting, and at one point she peeked back in, and at that point it was pretty much just like, yeah, I'm engrossed in this conversation I'm having on my phone. I mean, I didn't say that, but that's where it was, that's what I was doing. Now, today she has been kind of in touch with me, and as I said, there was a lot of drama involving my daughter. I don't have time to talk about it right now. It's still hot as hell out here, and I want to go inside and figure out what it's going to take for me to get that video file I was talking about from a week ago exported. And I'm going to have to explain what went wrong with Wonolo later as well, because that's a pretty significant thing, and I want to get that story out. I feel like Wonolo is, in concept, a good thing, but there's some definite... There's some issues, not the least of which is I haven't been paid yet for July 4th. And the fact that they use that term, the requestor. Like, if you can't use a proper name and you got to refer to somebody as the requestor, like, it's just fucking lazy. Just saying. It's just bad customer service. Yeah, I really want to explain that, but I know I'm going to get lost, and I'm going to get go autistic and go full overly on details on it. And I want to get that story out because it's interesting. And then what would have happened if I wasn't dealing with my daughter's trauma versus what did happen because I was dealing with my daughter's trauma. I'm still dealing with my daughter's trauma. She's fucking knocked the fuck out on my couch. There's a ride coming to pick her up at 1. At least I know that's on a schedule. I got my job interview tomorrow at 2. I may as well just go to sleep. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. And Priscilla thinks I should marry her. Yeah. That's like a car lot trying to sell me a car that ain't got no air conditioning. Seriously. Yeah, she left before I did. I was still engrossed in my text conversation. I had my phones. I had my phones working on putting together another chapter of my blog to upload. And so, yeah, I took my sweet time working on that and probably chilled in her bed for about an hour before I left. And I remembered to bring my loaf of bread with me, which is down to about half a loaf now. I didn't bother to bring the cheese. The cheese is, and that's another thing. It's like she doesn't listen to the stuff I tell her, or if she listens, like I think she listens, she just doesn't care. Like I've told her that, I have schizoaffective disorder and random voices fuck with my head. But yet she still leaves the TV on, streaming, where it just automatically keeps playing shit when she's not even watching it, when she's not even there. She just leaves that shit on. I mean, it's one thing if you want to leave on the radio with some fucking music. Or if you're going to leave it on, like, where it's TV, at least put it on some news where the talk is relevant, instead of just like blah, 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 blah voices. I don't hear blah, blah. I got enough blah, blah, blah voices in my head. I don't need it coming out of her fucking TV. But yeah, she leaves that shit on. And it's not my TV, so like I don't really know how to shut it off, or, you know, I don't want to fuck with it because it's not mine. Just turn that shit off when I'm around. You know it bothers me. I mean, it's one thing if we're watching a TV show together, but once that show's over, turn that shit off. Fuck. And I've also told her repeatedly that I don't like the generic store brand cheese, the Great Value cheese from Walmart. I don't like it. I don't know what it is that makes it so much lower quality than the Kroger generic brand from Fry's, but it is. It is significantly lower quality. The slices are always kind of warped and stuck together, and they peel apart, and it just doesn't have a good texture to it. It's just an inferior quality cheese. And I've told her, but every time she gets cheese, she keeps getting that shit-ass fucking cheese that I don't like. And maybe it's a little bit cheaper than the generic at Fry's, but I can't imagine it's that much cheaper. Whatever the price difference is, it's worth it to get cheese that's not awful. That shit's fucking awful. The one thing my daughter told me, and I think she had some wisdom, she goes, yeah, Priscilla seems about as unhappy as you are with her. It's like neither of you will let the other one go because you both think you're so goddamn old that nobody else wants you. And I'm like, well, we kind of are. That said, I did see Connie tonight. We were getting a little huggy. Nothing more than that. And, you know, it didn't go beyond. We were a little extra huggy tonight. Just saying. There was somebody else at the table that was talking about how she was super hot when she was young. And I'm guessing she's probably like 50-ish. It was at the table. It's kind of an older crowd over there at Royal Lounge. And she was saying that yeah, I was so hot when I was young. And she goes, yeah, I'm like 200 pounds now. And which I think is about where Priscilla's at. But anyway, she goes, yeah, I'm about 200 pounds now. And then Connie piped up that, yeah, I'm 115. And I'm just like kind of nodding my head going, nice. There's things a guy can do with a 115-pound woman that they can't. At least a guy my size can do with a 115-pound woman that he can't do with a 200-pound woman. I don't think I can lift 200 pounds. At least not lift and happily and easily maneuver 200 pounds. But 115 pounds, I can toss that around without much effort. And I was like, nice. And then she's like, no, that's not good. I'm like, what do you mean that's not good? And I was almost getting ready to hear her say, oh, well, you know, I need to bulk up a little bit or something. And then she's like, yeah, I feel like I need to lose at least another 5, maybe 10 pounds. And I'm like, no, 115 is good. 115 is good. And I'm pretty sure she's probably old. I'll be shocked if she's not older than me, but I'm thinking she's probably like 8 years older than me. But 115 pounds and in damn good shape, and that means a lot to me. Anyway, on that note, I'm going inside. It's fucking hot out here. Thanks for coming with on the drive. I swear, next video will have some more substance. Oh, I thought there was somebody going in my back door, but it's the neighbor, the guy that likes to yell at his girlfriend. I don't yell at my girlfriend. I just go online and yell about her. It's so much better.